This is not a dream.
Innana returns. Chapter 16. Interference. The Great Hall of the Intergalactic Federation Council was an immense meeting room with high vaulted, transparent ceilings that looked out on infinite space. Anu, Enlil, Anki, Ninhasag, Nana, Ninurta, Nurgle, Utu, and I were all formally seated in the circle of the council. Marduk refused to attend. I suddenly felt small and was glad Anu was there, but even he seemed diminished in these surroundings. The very presence of the council members made us humble, a feeling we were not accustomed to. The 12 overseers of the council represented a cross-section of the galaxies. In the audience were hundreds of other representatives from all across the universe. So many species. Members were present from Sirius, Andromeda, Orion, Arcturus, and countless other star systems. The Etherians were noticeably present. Etherians have a very high vibrational frequency. At times they appear solid, at other times transparent or translucent, and it is said that they are beyond polarity, although I have not yet to experience such a state. I don't know why, but the Etherians appear to have the last word in conducting the meeting. I also saw beings that were spears or balls of light that flew around you, changing into all the colors of the spectrum, first golden, then rose or turquoise. They possess the peculiar ability to enter into you with your permission to fill yourselves with light, and through this, know the sum total of your being. I found this to be a more interesting way of communicating. I was having fun with all these new experiences when the mood in the hall shifted. As Anu stood to face the 12, a sound came from them simultaneously. This sound became words which were clearly understood by each race. No interference. No interference is the law of this free will universe. And we, the 12, said, they have violated the laws by directly interfering with the evolution of species. The law stated it was permissible to assist in the evolution of beings if and only if they requested such assistance. To tamper with their DNA and disrupt the electromagnetic fields of an entire planet with the Gandivia weapon was unconscionably and illegal. I thought to myself that this free will universe concept must be like trade on Terra. It is only free when it suits those who are in power. It looked to me as if this council was trying to exert power over us by interfering with our free will. It was obvious to the council that we did not yet fully understand, so they carefully explained to us that no one was going to punish us, blow us up, or take our toys away. Something would happen to us, however. A state of consciousness and energy, a mood which reflected the sum total of all our actions on Terra, would find its way into our world. This energy would slowly but surely choke and the creativity and spontaneity of our lives, and we could find ourselves blocked, unable to evolve. The council called this energy the wall. They stated very clearly that we were not victims, that we had created this wall ourselves. It was the child of our own making. We did not believe them. They also forbade us to ever use the Gandivia again. If we did so, it would be viewed as an act of war, and we would be dealt with summarily. If we did not believe that their weapons were more powerful than ours, perhaps we could be shown some holographic memoirs of other errant groups who had been annihilated for breaking the law. It was further explained that their weapons not only destroyed civilizations, they were also powerful enough to vaporize the souls of the inhabitants. We could all be returned back into the prime creator to be no more, with no more incarnations available to us in any form. A cold chill ran up my pretty blue neck. The council went on to say that later in our development, it would be obvious to us that we had been in an adolescent phase. Such rivalries as those between Anki and Enlil would eventually pass, having served their natural purpose. In the meantime, we would not be allowed to destroy planets and fracture time itself with these high energy explosions. Remember, they concluded with the word remember, and Nu was visibly stunned. I had never seen him like this. As I tried to get his attention, he barely noticed me. Anu returned to Nibiru, Anki and Enlil flew to the orbiting space station, and the three stayed in constant communication. Amid all the discussions and arguments, with each son blaming the other, an urgent message appeared on our communication screens. Marduk had laid siege to the entire Palladian star system. For many years, Marduk had secretly cloned and trained legions of armies on an abandoned planet. The fear he had learned to extricate from the human race was serving as food and energy to support the massive effort. In a surprise attack, he had maneuvered into the Pallades and destroyed the ruling dynasty there. Now in complete tyrannical control, Marduk ordered Anu to surrender or he would be destroyed in Nibiru as such. Anu escaped with Antu to a neighboring star system. We were all in shock. Anki and I flew to inner Earth with Matali to hide in the deep underground world of the Snake Kingdom, where we would be protected from any residue of the Gandivia's radiation. Enlil left to enjoy his father Anu. The two were determined to formulate a plan to regain Nibiru and free the Pallades. Safely beyond the time frequencies of the damaged planet, our family watched in horror as Marduk began to take over what was left of Terra and her inhabitants. Over time, he seized control of your planet. Marduk did not use armies to conquer Terra. Instead, he used propaganda. The priests of Marduk accused Enlil of unleashing the terrible Gandivia against the helpless humans. It was, after all, the truth. And thus, Marduk turned Terra's inhabitants against Anu and Enlil. Marduk went out of his way to slander me. He claimed I was an evil witch who devoured men and turned innocent women into whores. Coveting my temples and all the lands owned by my priestesses, Marduk embarked on a campaign to slander and destroy these women. My priestesses, who were highly trained in business and the arts, were accused of black magic, of casting dark spells over the land. Whenever anything went wrong, if there was a bad storm or a crop failing, my women were blamed. And Marduk saw to it that plenty went wrong. My beautiful priestesses were imprisoned, beaten, tortured, raped, and burned alive. All of their property was confiscated. Marduk was taking his revenge on me, the one who had ordered him buried alive. In the Snake Kingdom, I lay on a small bed in a lovely room, but I did not notice my surroundings. In the eye of my mind, I saw my temples defaced and mutilated by Marduk's men. All images of the goddesses were replaced with his own. He carved his name in stone over mine and rewrote history, making himself the hero of every story and legend. I watched in helpless agony as my priestesses suffered every unimaginable humiliation. There are many so-called fairy tales of virgin girls taken by dragons and chained in dark caverns. These stories are based on truth, but there was no knight in shining armor to rescue my beautiful priestesses. Marduk did not stop with my women. He would not be satisfied until he had suppressed all women. To achieve this, he used the men. He told the human males that they were superior. The women that was created from the rib of man to serve him. Lies poured forth from the priest of Marduk. A woman lost their place of respect. The men in turn lost a part of themselves. Nothing was ever right again. Even lovemaking became a war because Marduk wanted more subjects to control and more energy from the fear being generated. He encouraged his subjects to procreate. He placed an electromagnetic device in Terra's moon which tied females' ovulation to his cycles. The animals of Terra could not be impregnated so frequently as its women. Marduk wanted to produce fear as a commodity, so he ordered the rulers to multiply themselves, giving himself more subjects to tyrannize, and so that he could generate energy from their fear. Fear became the commodity most valued by Marduk. Fear ruled. Fear of death, fear of punishment, and fear of knowledge. With such an unlimited source, Marduk could feed his legions of clones, and Terra became a power station for Marduk and his tyrants. The tyrants there were from the rulers of countries to the heads of companies. Tyranny was the law. To exert one's will over another was the most highly valued expression of human life. With tyranny came its friend, greed, and as no one can be close to those they control, things, the trophies of conquest and control, took the place of love. Pleasure was defined by possessions, and things took the place of intimacy. From the Snake Kingdom, I saw this world's future timeline unfold before me. I saw Marduk becoming more and more clever in his techniques to control the rulers, to generate fear. Priests and politicians paraded before me. Styles changed. But the underlying tyranny remained the same. An invisible claw spread over the minds and souls of the inhabitants of Terra. The Inquisition, the feudal system, 100 isms, all promising hope, came and left. Industrialization brought meaningless job labor, increased materialism, and contaminated the waters, the land, and the food. Marduk perfected manipulation with the advent of mass media, television, and journalism. Over and over, the humans were entrained to worship outside themselves, never encouraged to turn inward. There was always time or someone out there was to be worshipped, someone better and higher. Doubting themselves, the rulers listened endlessly to the experts, who in turn contradicted each other, adding further to the confusion. The humans who did manage to think for themselves were ostracized as misfits, punished, or at the very least made to feel guilty. If one accomplished, others felt diminished, and the guilt was encouraged. Psychology became popular, and humans gave their money to those who would listen to their guilt in fear for hours, days, and years. For Marduk, guilt was just as nourishing as fear. If there was a shortage of fear, Marduk would throw in a famine, an earthquake, or a hurricane or so. This could be really actually occurring in nature, or it might be simply shown as a hologram or on the television. From my little bed, the future of terror looked abysmal. As I wandered back and forth through time, it suddenly dawned on me like lightning striking my poor tired brain that Marduk was us. Marduk was the collective consciousness, unconscious, of the family of Anu projected onto Terra. We had created him as surely as we had ever done anything in our lives. Each and every one of us had born Marduk into this dimension. Surely, if we had created him, we could also get rid of him. But how?